Hello, 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 and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifestor, and I'm sure you are too, because you are consuming content like this. The name of this channel is Holistic Manifesting because I believe in a whole body, whole mind, and whole being experience when it comes to manifesting these amazing lives that we are choosing to live. What I'm discussing in this video is a nuanced conversation that I was having with my daughter one day. And I think that because I love to observe people and groups and situations and circumstances, I'm great at analyzing. Like, I love to pay attention to what the people are doing. And I'm not talking about just like to talk about people or to gossip. Like, I always wonder, like, why do people make certain choices or why do they believe certain things? And something that I noticed, we were watching TV. And both of my daughters, I watch TV shows with them sometimes. One of them is never going to say, oh, let's watch this together, because she's just not like that. But what I'm having on the TV, she'll come up and she'll get engaged in it just because of the type of show that it is. So what I noticed that with the younger one, if it's a show that is, that is plot driven in some strong way, she's it gets her attention big time. Like if it's a murder mystery or if it's some type of mystery altogether, because I like watching mystery things and sort of trying to figure them out to some degree. So if the plot works, no matter who the characters are, the characters can be interchanged, but the plot still works, that she's going to jump right down and sit next to me. Now, the older one, if she's watching something, normally she say, come watch this with me. It'll be a TV show that has no real plot whatsoever. But the characters and the way that the characters are built is very strong. So what she's essentially following is the characters and their development as opposed to the overall plot. So she'll watch things that are like dramas that are for like anywhere from 15 to like 35-year-olds, I guess these days, I don't know. She'll have me watching like old school TV shows like One Tree Hill or the OC or Gossip Girl or those kind of things. And what I realized, some of them are heavy on plot and heavy on character. But for the most part, either TV shows lean far into the plot or they lean far into the character. And I thought about this. How does this play out in our real lives, right? It's such a mirror and it's such the same thing. I find myself being able to be split in those ways. Like I can be a little character driven, but I'm mostly fully plot driven as I am as a person. And that's what I like to watch. I don't even care about the characters as much as I care about the overarching story that's being told in a TV show or a movie or something like that. But in our lives, I was thinking about that. She's very, very focused on friendships and friendship dynamics. That's something that I've never been hugely focused on in my life. I've always said, hey, you're a friend. I like you. I like your character, your personality. Then you're a friend. I never had all these social mechanics happening, from one week to the next. And she has that. Like they're always juggling people's emotions, what someone thought, what someone said, the confusion, the mishaps. Like, I'm the kind of person that when that stuff happens, I'm just going to step back because I'm like, it's too much. My younger daughter's the same way. She's not getting involved in anybody's drama. Never. She doesn't even know. She's not even paying attention to the drama. She's in another world. And so what I realized is that watching those TV shows was truly a mirror onto how some people operate in their lives. And I was thinking about whether one way or the other was more productive or more of a value than the other type of way of seeing life. And what I came to the conclusion of was that it was not. If you have a good balance of both character and plot, then you have better outcomes when it comes to even TV shows. Because you can show me an amazing plot and an amazing murder mystery, but if the characters fall flat and like I don't really know who they are, it's kind of annoying to me after a while because I'm like, who even is this person, right? And it's the same thing like if I read a book. So I was telling her you can move a little bit closer to the plot, the bigger picture of what's happening, the bigger idea of what you're trying to create, and less away from the minutia of the people. And I could definitely pull myself far from like the big picture all the time and look at, who are these characters in my life? Who are these people that are around me every day? What do they need? What are they going through? What's happening in their world, right? So think about that with yourself. Are you plot driven or are you character driven? There's times in my life where I've been hugely plot driven. Like the people around me didn't make a difference whatsoever because I was so harped up on the big picture of what was happening in my life. I was so harped up on, I need to make this happen. I want to experience this. I want to create this. And if you are the kind of person that's going to get in the way of that, then you're going to have to go by. That was my mindset and how I operated and worked. Today is not as much as that way. I don't see people as interchangeable in that same way because I'm in a different phase of my life. So at some points in our lives, being more plot driven does work for us because we don't have the time to look at the big picture. We're trying to make a huge paradigm shift. We're going through an awakening. We're going through a timeline jump. We're going through a quantum leap. We don't have time to worry about whether this person right here approves of us or we can drag this person along with us. We have to be more caught up on what is the bigger picture for my life? What am I trying to create overall in my life? What am I trying to experience? And when we know there's somebody around us that's going to hinder it, that's purposefully hindering it, that's not on the same page as that, we have to decide, is this character more important to me to sit with, or is the entire plot for my life more important, right? And we'll see this also too on the other end of the spectrum. If we have a life where we're dealing in that way, because we already know networking is like 9/10 of getting into most environments, right? I was at a conference once for women in power or something like that it was. And it was for like women who were CEOs and leadership and all this kind of stuff. And it showed me how much I didn't want to be in that world. But when I went to this thing, I remember this lady saying that 82% of positions that are filled in the corporate space come from people that know someone already, or people that are directly connected to the people who are doing the hiring. And I was like, I knew that it mattered who you knew, but I didn't realize the percentage was that high. So it made me start thinking about the whole character driven aspect of existing. And I was like, well, sometimes I don't get heavily involved in what people have going on. I don't get heavily involved in the work, let's go to lunch together. Let's do this together. Let's do that. Because I get caught up in, no, my mission is to do this, do that. But we have to remember that those missions primarily show up for us through the people that we have around us. But if we're too heavily caught up in those individual characters, we don't have time to look at the big picture. And it goes vice versa. If we don't have time to look at the characters that we have around us, we can have all kinds of seedy people that shouldn't be connected to us in our space. We can have people in our space that should be like more supportive and they're not. But we're so caught up in the day-to-day and the minutia of what's happening with them that we can't really see it. And so sometimes also too, we don't realize that that's where the majority of your blessings and your networking and your connections are coming from. So if you're too caught up on the big picture all the time, you don't see the human beings that are sitting right next to you and who are playing a role in your space. And like, what role are they actually playing, right? So I thought this was a fun conversation because I write a lot of books. I write a lot of character-driven things. I write a lot of fiction, right? I haven't written, my last 2 books have not been fiction. I don't think they were. Oh, there they are there. Maybe. I think. No, the last 2 books that I've written haven't been fiction. And I want to get into something more fiction because this kind of woke up that spirit inside of me again, right? But when we're sitting thinking about our lives and like what we're into and what we're focused on, rarely do we get the opportunity to sort of get a bird's eye view and say, hey, I am driven more like this in these spaces and I am driven more like that. And when you know who you are, as I always tell my daughters, when you know who you are in a certain space, it doesn't mean that something's wrong with you and you need to change everything about who you are all the time. Sometimes it just means that because I am a character-driven person, I'm going to have to learn how to manage who I am. And I have this conversation with them all the time, that when I say something about your character, who you are, how you operate, it does not mean something is wrong with you or something needs to change. I'm sharing with you what I see in who you are so that you can learn how to better manage who you are. The better manager of who you are, the better manager you are of yourself, the better you can create and expand and grow in this world. If you know you are a highly sensitive person who can't hear a lot of negative things about other people and what's going on negative in other people's lives without it bringing you all the way down, it doesn't mean that you lose your sensitivities. It means that you manage better when you expose yourself to people who might need a shoulder to cry on. on, or how often you may talk to certain groups of people. It doesn't mean that you just cut out that version of you altogether. And some people don't realize this, because the minute they learn like, oh, I'm emotional, whatever, they want to cut off the emotional aspects of who you are, who they are. That's not to cut off your emotional aspects. It's beautiful to be emotional. It's beautiful to feel something. But what you need to learn how to do is how to manage those aspects of who you are, so that they're not manipulated and misused and abused by other people, because you're so busy trying to pretend like they're not there and other people can see it super clearly. So like with my whole thing of being plot driven 99% of the time, I told myself I have a new venture I'm taking on in about 2 weeks, right? And I've not done any type of contracts or work in a while, but I'm taking this on and working with these group of people. And I told myself that it was going to be important for me to get to know the people that I'm with and not see them as just like, you know, avatars walking around me while I'm doing my thing right in the middle, right? So I told myself I was going to be more valuable of the people that are in the space, a little bit more character driven. So it's not that I'm eliminating the big picture version of me. No, she's there. She's always going to be there, because that's how I create the beautiful life that I get to live, because I am plot driven. If it is not a part of the overall plot of my life and story, most of the time it has to go. But if I get into a space to where I'm chill enough and relaxed enough, and I don't have a lot going on, and I'm not trying to like create anything huge or big in a particular moment, and, you know, like that I can see in my particular moment, then I have time to sort of, you know, smell the roses, I'll say, and interact with the characters and see how the people are, what they have going on, ask about their kids and what they got, what do they want to go to lunch, and be the initiator of connection sometimes, because a lot of times I'm not the initiator. And so I learned to manage those aspects of me and pay attention to them, as opposed to trying to, oh, you're too plot driven, you don't know, you're not close to people, you don't have any good friendship, blah blah. Now you just need to get all the way over there and get caught up in other people's lives. And no, I'm always going to be big picture Jameelah. That's just who I am. But I'm also going to take time to say, how can I manage the other aspects of me, right? The more you know about yourself, the better you can manage those aspects of who you are. There's not some perfect way that you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to not care about being valued by other people. You're not supposed to not care about all these other things. But if you see that as who you are, you have to learn how to manage it so that it works for you, and it's not something that's tearing you apart, as opposed to something that's building you up. Because I believe all aspects of who we are can be things that build us up. I'm very passionate. I'm very straightforward. I'm a straight shooter. I'm clear. This used to come out through me in anger a lot when I was younger. When I learned to manage that aspect of who I was, if it's time to be angry about something, I can find it. I know how to find it. So I'm like, I always tell people, don't think that I don't have it in me no more. I know how to find the words. I know how to find it. But what I learned was that when I faced that aspect of who I was able to manage that version of me better. And I'm like, you know what? It can't come out for everything. It can't come out even for this. They don't deserve that level of passion from you. It can't come out for all these little petty things. When you know more about yourself, you can manage yourself better, right? Think about in your life, are you a more plot-driven person or character-driven? And how can you manage those worlds and merge them in some kind of way? But it was really fun learning that through like what they're willing to watch with me. It's like I had a backwards understanding. It's like it came to me from the back to the front. I was like, wait, this is a lot like your personalities. This is what you, and so now I know I'll watch these things, Gossip Girl and all that with one, because I like that kind of stuff sometimes. And then this one, I'll watch, the big ones that's about the fate of the universe, the dystopias, and all these wonderful stories to where the characters are not so big as opposed to what's happening overall. Anyway, are you plot driven or character driven? Have a wonderful, wonderful day.